to the Mike and JD Show YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. I want you to do me a big favor before you check out this clip. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to throw in a comment and make sure you're a subscriber to this channel. And then I want you to share this video with your friends. Help us defeat the algorithm. And then if you like this content and you appreciate this content, please head over to patreon.com/the Mike and JD Show and support the show. That is how we actually get funded to be able to do this. So we thank you very much for being here. And now enjoy the clip.
Competition starting to get thick.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Competition starting to get thick. It's the click, so I hope you work your A game. A man, no rain from the track when we unite and spit. This isn't A game. Better bring your A game. Competition starting to get thick. It's the click, so I hope you work your A game. A man, no rain from the track.
I want to talk about free agency frenzy. WWE sent out a lot of releases they released a lot of people in the last week. They did some kinder, more gentle releases. So they put a bunch of new people on the free agency market, and I have the list of them. But before I get to the list, I want to set some ground rules, JD. Okay, and I want to set some ground rules with people in the chat, specifically King of the North and anybody else. Okay, that wants to pop in the comments, that wants to attack me and harass me on Twitter and bully me on Twitter. If you say that Jinder Mahal, Veer, and Sangha should go to TNA, you're blocked. That includes you, JD. Like I'm gonna request seat filler. JD, come back. Like Doc Preet was harassing me last week. I got King of the North blowing me up. Got a lot of people bullying me in comments saying that they're gonna go. And what pisses me off the most is I could see it.
I was gonna say, I'm awful angry for something that could actually happen.
Yeah. And it's like,
oh, I thought you meant the guys in the chat talking about Jinder.
No, not the guys in the chat. Guys in the chat, I'm going to get to you. You guys are harassing me, but
are they talking about Jinder Mahal?
Yeah, we got
so,
our chat is alive with Jinder Mahal speculation.
I know. Yeah, BJ, he got shit canned last week, and ever since he got fired, I've had one harassing tweet after another, and people in the chat saying that he's going to sign with TNA. And what pisses me off the most is I could see it, and I have a TNA podcast, so that's rough.
I like Jinder, but I think he's definitely a guy who fits best in the WWE system. And yeah. I'm so stunned by the Trevor Lee release. This is a guy, he was 30 years old. Mitchell was watching him wrestle at CWF Mid-Atlantic doing hour matches when he was like 24, 25 and said, he does an hour match as good as Steamboat or Flair. Like, I don't know if there's anyone alive that's seen more 1 hour matches than Bruce Mitchell. And it's just, I don't know what they were thinking with that. Maybe it's just they felt he stalled. Maybe it wasn't the right fit. I would not want to be this just reminds me of when they cut Swerve or Athena,
Yeah.
The amazing thing about it is he actually got over in NXT. He was a success story in a not great era of NXT. And the fact that he never even got a sniff on the main roster is surprising and a bit dumbfounding because he's remarkably talented.
Well, you know what happened, guys? You know what happened is he created that character where he got rich off of that Reddit trading thing where he was like he put all his money on GameStop. And he got that over. And so what they did is Vince gave that gimmick to Baron Corbin. And Baron Corbin did like he was bum-ass Corbin. And then all of a sudden he got rich. It was the Cameron Grimes gimmick. They just gave it to somebody else. And then ever since then, he stalled out. And he never did anything again. Of note, anyway.
That's WWE, I mean, I would want to keep the guy I would want to do the guy who can actually wrestle well, who's younger, got more years, is probably cheaper, and came up with the idea. That's like a guy I'd rather have. Not that I don't have anything against Baron Corbin, but I just don't understand this one. I mean, he's obviously a creative, smart guy. I even think he dabbles in stock a bit.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
I think the gimmick was like the character
Shoot.
that they were making. Yeah, it was like a shoot character. Um,
yeah.
I wish I had that character because I put money on GameStop too late, and I think I lost $500.
So did a lot of us, buddy. So did a lot of us. I mean, that's just such a way of. I mean, the Cameron Grimes character was just such a brilliant way of just taking. And I don't think wrestling does enough of this, where you just take in current events and fold it into what's happening. And
Yeah,
right. I mean, right now, outside of Grimes doing that when he was doing it, I mean, the closest you get to the Acclaimed when they come down and do their rap. You know, and I think you can get more inspiration from things that way. I mean, heck, look at Dusty Rhodes. He talked about stuff like that all the time. And
yeah. A lot of his promos are based off of like real world events and song lyrics and movie lines and stuff like that. He was
yeah,
very
I mean,
topical.
oh, if there was a cool country band or rock band, he had their T-shirt on when he was out on Crockett every week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He just, and Bret Hart did that too. I mean, he was. I mean, he was really smart about pop culture, and I mean, everybody remembers him in pink and black, but if he was walking to the arena, he had a shirt on. He had a band shirt on. It was somebody really cool coming up, and it's like I think that that's something more wrestlers. That's definitely a fruitful area to farm if and get some ideas if they want. But I'm open. I just think I think that this is just a great year for wrestling. It's just like you got Cody winning. I mean, there's some, WWE's got some cool things going on. It's not my type of product. New Japan, who you think should be dead, just comes into Chicago and sells out Sears, and or they don't. I don't know what they call it now, but
the
uh,
Wintrust.
Wintrust, different
yeah,
arena, actually.
Wintrust Center.
Different arena.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Mustafa Ali's the hottest indie act since Cody Rhodes, and now Trevor's probably going to come in right behind him. Um, you know,
I,
uh,
yeah, I think you're right about Trevor Lee, and I think Joe and Rich made this point last night. Like he is not going to have trouble finding work.
No.
Like he's gonna work, the TNA MLW loop with like the North Carolina Indies and all, like he'll be in Prestige Wrestling, Game Changer. Like there's so many places for him to go. They're gonna be like thrive, or they're gonna be like foaming at the mouth to try to get Trevor
oh
Lee on
yeah,
their shows.
I think he has the potential to be a draw like Ali's been for indies in New Japan and Jack Perry was, and also Matt Cardona. Where he just created this, indie god super heel personality, and just, he's able to bring in people with it. And I think, Trevor, for different reasons, just because he's just so talented and creative, he's definitely going to follow in his steps. And I think I mean, it's bad for him. I feel bad he got cut from WWE, but I think this is probably for wrestling fans, it's our game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think John Muse actually said it best, and I'm going to pull his comment up because he's in the chat. He said Grimes' gimmick with DiBiase would have worked on the main roster, but Trevor Lee did not pass Vince's airport test. Vince had lost touch and had no interest in NXT succeeding, and I agree with that. It's just I think it was more of a look thing, but Baron Corbin always had the look that they were wanting, and so they just gave the
Yeah.
gimmick to Baron Corbin, and of course he failed. Because every time they push him, it just never works.
Because he sucks.
Well, I think we've seen. Yeah, I think we've seen I think we've seen how Vince versus good booking or more modern contemporary booking goes. Triple H is. I think he's just getting out of the talent's weight in a lot of ways, and he's also putting together matchups. And he's made WWE a babyface company again for the first time in 20 some years. And look at them thriving. They're doing better than ever. And it's like, once they got Vince out of the way, and that's kind of what he said. I think Trevor in one of the interviews he did was just he was never a Vince guy. It was a Triple H guy. And when Vince came back or he was there, it was just hot and cold with him. And but I think I think that experience being there, I think that's valuable experience to have. But I'll be honest, I think he's better off out of there. I don't think he would have ever gotten anything on the main roster like he would if he went anywhere else. I think he has more potential at other places.
Mhm.
I'm not saying he's going to be the next, John Moxley or Kenny Omega or, you know, or, you know, the next big draw or the next swerve. But I just think he has a lot. I think he can get a lot more out of his potential at other places. I also think WWE is also just biased in a lot of ways. I think they look to him as a North Carolina guy, and he talked like a North Carolina guy, and and that's just how. I mean, the only time he ever had people with Southern accents on his show was Hillbilly Jim and the Wyatt family, and and I think that's just a problem in the company is they they look down on that. And I mean, about half the wrestling fans are in the world are in the Southeast United States. I don't think that's a good idea, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I call Trevor Lee a Triple H guy. I think Trevor Lee thinks he was a Triple H guy, but
I
we're
think
we're
that's a
firmly
great
in
take.
the like. I think that we're they keep telling us week after week that we're firmly in the Triple H era, and he let that guy go. So I mean,
Yeah.
like, I mean, I think that might be the new. Well, Vince loved me, but Kevin Dunn hated me, or Jr. hated me. I think that might be the new thing as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Vince
was
Vince
now.
didn't like me, but Triple H loved me. Then why are you
Yeah. Yeah.
fired?
Triple
You
H
mean how
loves you,
like
but
CM Punk
Nick
was
Khan
gonna
hated
beat?
me.
Oh yeah, Nick Khan's a dick. Triple H loves
Yeah.
me. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Real quick. Okay. Jinder, Senga, and Veer. Where are they gone?
TNA.
Quick hits. Fuck.
I'm
Fuck.
sorry.
All right.
That's what I'm sorry. I might have just lost my job, but they're going to
That's,
TNA.
that's bullying. Yeah. So I could see TNA. Honestly I could see Jinder probably in TNA, but the other two guys I just don't
Yeah,
think that
I think they're
they
done.
want to do indies.
I think
Yeah,
they're
I don't
done.
think. Yeah, I think those guys are like retired. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So BJ's out. Okay. I think those guys are retired. Trevor Lee. I think like tailor made like to return to TNA. That's where he came from, right? So it makes all the sense in the world.
I'll be shocked if he doesn't wind up in AEW. To be quite frank.
I think he looks like he could be an ROH guy, you know what I mean, and kind of come up. Like if people are complaining about his booking in WWE, I don't think it's going to be much better in AEW. They're just too stacked. They don't
No,
have the spots. You know what I mean?
I agree with that, but he's got respect as a really good worker, and I could see
He
those
does.
guys wanting to work with him. I could see Brian Danielson saying, "This is a guy we need." I think he'd be better off in TNA because I think they have holes.
Yeah.
I would have a hard time seeing Tony Khan passing him up, to be quite honest.
Yeah. I think he's really good. He's just not really a guy that's going to get over at a high level because
You know
he's
where
just
I'd
not
like
like a star.
you know where I'd like to see Trevor Lee actually? New
Where
Japan.
I think they need people, and but you oh did you lose me for a sec?
I did.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, they need people, but I think that he could be a guy that kind of doing like what Nemeth and Ali are doing, just working everywhere
Yeah, I could see that.
and doing shots there. What about Von Wagner, Calvin Bloom, Wayne Bloom's son
I don't know.
from the Beverly Brothers?
I don't know. Like I don't know if he's done with wrestling because WWE didn't work out. His dad is in the business and he did train beforehand. I can't see
Yeah.
AEW, maybe TNA, maybe MLW. Like
Yeah.
he's not that great, so I'm not sure what they're gonna do
No.
with him.
Yeah, I thought he had potential, but he just never really reached it, and he was there for a long time. So he's another guy that's like a college football player. You know, he was born into the business. His dad was I don't want to say his dad was like a famous wrestler. I don't think he was all that famous. And I don't really think that he has like pull with like he doesn't have like nepotism power, right? Like
No,
some like Rey Mysterio and Taz
yeah.
do. So like I don't think that there people are just gonna hire him because he's Wayne Bloom's kid. So but if he really wants it, the guy is like 6'5", 250, college football standout at UCF. I think somebody's probably gonna be willing to give him a shot. I know that AEW did pick up a lot of like NXT like cast offs and try to give them a shot and do like Ring of Honor stuff with them and keep them for a while, like Parker Boudreaux and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So maybe they'll give him a shot. But I don't know that he's going to be an indie guy though either. So we'll see about him. And real quick before we get off here, I know we ran long tonight because we got BJ like right at the end of the show. Want to make a note, Mike Santana, he has signed a full-time contract with TNA Wrestling. Man, I'm excited about that. And he actually returned over the weekend at Rebellion and had a pretty good match with Steve Maclin. So Mike Santana is back in TNA, and I think this is the best spot for him.
I agree. Slap the title on him. Make him the guy.
There is a rumor going around that Bound for Glory is going to be at the Hammerstein in
Oh,
Manhattan, and Santana is he's a New
New
York
York
guy. I
guy.
think he's from
Yeah,
the Bronx. I think he's from the Bronx. If they're going to do it, I think that'd be a good spot.
agreed.
Just kind of go all, he signed now. Go all the way with him, right? And I thought he had a ton of energy, charisma. The match was good. I think the last time we saw him, brother was eating a little bit, probably too much, but he's trimmed down since he's been in TNA, since we saw him last weekend. So he looks pretty good. Also in TNA, Steve Macklin just
Resign.
re-signed. So all of my bullying, all of my complaining, all of my politicking, and all of my finger poking has finally got them to sign my favorite guy. So thank you. Actually, you all should thank me if you're a TNA fan for getting this done. Really.
Congratulations, Mike. I know this was very important to you. Who says bullying doesn't work? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. I think that they needed to keep him. Now, hopefully, they to the level he's been here for 4 or 5 years, probably about 4 years now. So I mean, let's really do
Yeah.
something with him. You know,
He was in that first wave of pandemic fireds that came over, and he was one of the guys that actually did something different and unique and interesting, and kind of bettered his stock, I think, outside the system than he did inside the system. And he actually, so a friend of mine, I don't know if he wants me to expose something, but I'm just gonna do it. A friend of mine actually DM'd him and was like, "Hey, why did you sign a TNA?" And he said, "Money and freedom." And I was like, "That is the most American shit I ever heard. Thank you. I love
yeah,
that."
that's a very Marine answer. Hey, if he's happy there and he's having a good time and he thinks he's going to get pushed up top, I can't fault him one bit. I'm good with it.
Yeah, yeah. I dig that. Yeah, Matt Hardy, he is in TNA, but he's a free agent. He's just doing the broken thing. I think until WWE, maybe he can try to get this thing hot, and maybe WWE bring him back. King of the North says Von Wagner should go to Noah to tag with Dr. Wagner Jr. And he's actually El Hilo. He's Wagner 3. El Hilo,
Okay.
Dr. Wagner Jr. Yeah, he is
You know,
Dr. Wagner Jr.'s son.
we know a guy.
We do. We could probably get that done.
We might be able to negotiate that. We should put that on our text thread with our buddy.
Yeah, yeah. We should try to get that one done. And a couple others like Zia Lee, Zion Quinn. I don't see anything out of them. They got released by WWE,
Telling you
so
right
they're
now,
on the free agency market.
Zion Quinn's going to get our bookings because they love his wife.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, they love. So Zion Quinn's married to Harley Cameron.
Mhm.
So I think he ends up. He could probably get some dates over there.
Which,
Also,
by the way, let's moment of for Zion Quinn.
congrats, sir. Yeah,
Yes,
congrats,
sir.
sir. Zion Quinn. Who knew?
Yes.
Guy's never even been on TV, and good for him.
Who cares? Got a hot
Congratulations, sir.
wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kudos.
And then also, lastly, speaking of AEW constantly ripping off TNA ideas, much like the Learning Tree, the Grizzly Young Vets are going to be making their AEW debut this weekend. Well, obviously Grizzly Young Vets were never signed in TNA. They just worked some dates there. So not only did they take the Motor City Machine Guns, whom TNA opted not to re-sign, but now they're taking the other good tag team, the Grizzly Young Vets. So took about 2/3 of the tag team division in TNA and bringing them over to AEW.
All of a sudden, AEW's tag team division's back. That's some really good teams back in there.
Yeah, it was looking pretty thin for a
It was
while.
It was a little thin, but now
Yeah.
you got the Guns, you got FTR, Bucks are doing some of the best work they've done in a long time. Now you had the Grizzly Young Vets. Top Flight's still pretty good. All of a sudden, Brian and Claudio were a good tag team. I don't know what's up with Ricky and Big Bill, but there's a lot going on there again.
Yeah, Ricky's hurt. Big Bill is joining the Learning Tree, so I don't know if that's even going to be a team anymore. Private Party, or not Private Party, Top Flight can't stay healthy.
No.
And so they really just have not improved. They're still just moves with a Z guys. So they're very cool to watch at times, but they're not getting over. And then Private Party, another tag team that just can't stay healthy, and they're just not out there grinding. So who knows if they'll ever get better.
I would love to see Top Flight do a Japanese excursion, much like old Jack Perry just did. Maybe get those guys working in Dragon Gate or something like that, where they can really showcase, because they run a ton. Dragon Gate runs a ton of shows, and with their style, I think some look what happened to Pac. They get guys pretty good over there.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. I think that's gonna do it for us. I hit all the topics that I wanted to hit, and then some. JD and I were talking that we might not have enough things to talk about, but boy, were we wrong. Boy, were we
Another
wrong.
90.
We did it. Another 90 this week. We tried to keep it to an hour. We did 90 again. So thank you
Failed.
guys in the chat. Thank you for sticking with us. I really appreciate it. Patreon.com/the Mike and JD show. Make sure you hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, mahalo.
Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you watch your A game. Amen, no rain on the track when we unite and spit. This isn't A game, better bring your A game. Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you watch your